Hello. Huh. So a very good afternoon. And I know it's a post-lab session, so a little drowsiness, but let's make our session two ways. And let's go in the, I will not say I'll go alone in the journey of teaching and learning. We'll go together. Uh, as ma'am introduced me and she said, I have so much, but I'll still tell you, I'm in the learning process. Not exactly sitting in the classroom and learning, but yes, until and unless we are working, we are learning. I hope everyone will agree with me. I'm a part of teaching and learning system in higher educations, and the theme of our FDP and the topic which I have been given or chosen like is teaching pedagogy. Now, teaching apart the word pedagogy means, let's go with another slide. Teaching pedagogy refers to different methods. I will first try and let us understand what do you mean by teaching. There can be two understandings of the word teaching. If I say I'm just explaining and you all are listening to me, or in the classroom, maybe it is a small classroom session or a big or an online session like we are. So teaching should be a two-way process where a feedback mechanism is the most appropriate and important part, so that my thoughts are reaching to you and you are convinced and you have no questions, or if you have questions, we will discuss on to them. So the topic teaching pedagogy is the most required thing nowadays, because due to the AI and online methods and various other things which have been promoted in education after basically COVID, we never thought we'll come into a system where we can sit at home and approach students worldwide. Sitting in a classroom, closed classroom, or at home, or 24/7 hours learning was not our cup of tea. Basically, in India, we are still used to, or we were used to, a chalk and talk mechanism where if you don't give me a blackboard, I'll not be able to teach numerical papers. But these ideologies have totally changed. So, thanks to coronavirus, which has given us this facility to learn also, maybe other things apart. But teaching pedagogy refers to the methods, strategies, and approaches used by various educators to facilitate learning and promote student engagement and development. A normal human being at one point of time has a very limited capacity to listen. After that listening, we have to understand the concept. After understanding, we have to put it into actual practice, and then the result comes. So in an hour's lecture, if I say we are mostly attentive for first 20-30 minutes in a very passionate way, then after that our understanding or listening capacity reduces. Then if you give me something else, a part of what you can call it as a screen, you can give me some session, you give me some video, you give me an exercise which will bring back me to the session. So this is how the teaching has been coming into a revolution section. It encompasses a wide range of techniques and philosophies designed to address the diverse needs of learners and foster a positive, effective learning and environment. Today, if you tell me to complete a degree sitting at home, I'll say yes, it's possible because of the online teaching facilities. Previously, around 10 years back, if you tell me, can I do a degree sitting at home, a part of external, I would say, no, it's not possible. I have to come to college, I have to submit assignments, I have to write, I have to attend lectures, and that's the only way I can get into education. Thanks to all these changes, the teachers have now become facilitators, educators, which will help students to come out successfully with good colors. Pedagogy is a method of teaching in which teachers teach both in theory and practice. Of course, theory and practice is a combination of what we have. Basically, if we are into commerce or arts, science has more practicals than us. Pedagogy is a combination of teaching methods, like what the instructors do, like what the teachers or facilitators do. Learning activities, what instructors ask their students to do, and learning assignments. Pedagogy can be used to define the various ways that teaching and learning is carried out in an educational business sense. I hope I'm clear and you all can listen to me. It is, I can have some yeses or whatever it is. Is it okay? Am I only the one who's understanding and listening to it? Hello? I hope many of us are connected together, right? Correct? If I can call out names, is it Shilpa, madam? Am I audible? And I hope you're understanding me.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thanks. So, pedagogy, the way, now if I go to physically the word pedagogy, the way teachers deliver the content of the curriculum to a class, the way I present my session. Like now I'm presenting with a presentation, with a small diagram, with a different colors. The viewers will have diverse things looking at this. They might be attracted to the color. They might be attracted to the small picture. So if I am into a regular classroom session where you can look at me standing, that's a different scenario. So if I have different methods coming together, it will give me a great way to reach to my audiences. The method of teaching both as an academic subject or theoretical concept with different aspirations is through pedagogy. Working together, allowing conversation which teaches language, meaning, and value in the context of immediate issues. Yeah, we can discuss anything in the classroom related to the topics. But that can give us a more kind of learning experiences together, because it's not one way process. Education, teaching, listening, learning, understanding is a two-way mechanism. Hmm. Why is pedagogy important? We were very happy with the chalk class, get in, get out, chalk. What you say is lecture methods and all those things. What made need of pedagogy into the current education system? Say with the blend, with the online and AI, artificial intelligence processes driving in all the sectors, there are various changes and advances in the education sector too, where which we cannot neglect. It makes a relationship between the teacher and the learner much easier. The way of connectivity, the way of sharing, the way of explaining, as they together work to determine the best experiences of learning. If you share with me some concepts, I can idealize, I can put into examples, and I can share with you. That is the best way of understanding a concept. Engagement in learning is increased when students or delegates have an input to the way the learning is encountered and expressed. I'll have a small example here. Say, pushing a student, motivating a student to do something extra, a part of their regular classes, is what encourages them. I'll give you a best example, which we do in the colleges, right? Like we the if we don't give some the carrot and stick approach, what we have in motivation, if we don't motivate the students to do something, they will never do it. It's a routine course of work what they'll do it. I have a seminar arranged where I have good amount of speakers coming in with accounting standards or with IFRS, everything. But if students are not there, the outcome is not, the program outcome is not successful. So in my students will, how they will be motivated to go and attend that session? It's only best way. I'll give you 1 mark extra in the practical if you come and sit from the lecture and understand and give me a report on it. So that's a different way of putting things onto their table and yeah, telling them to do this. It's a compulsion, but it's again a motivation factor there. So a combination of a delegation and motivation and instructing them, no, you have to do this, comes out like this. Increased access to more metacognitive learning strategies. Now we are not a singular factor which we go to the class and learn. We have a multiple discipline. With the NEP, I must say we have extracurricular, co-curricular. We have a multiple sub stream options. Like I am a commerce student, I can take an art subject and I can study psychology along with my commerce subjects. So it's an open era, I must say, which will give us a good impact on education, and it has a long term impacting ideas and concepts. The next important strategy is delivering learning programs in ways that learners learn best and the students are engaged. If I give you a quiz immediately, how many of you would not be engaged into it? A few of them. Majority of you would be engaged, have greater propensity to retain more in the future. The students learn the greater enjoyment of the processes and are more open to self learning they become in the future. The more you try and understand the concepts, you try to apply them. When learners take in information that is applicable in the real world situation, they are more likely to see connections between the concept of learning and the better result outcome. Nowadays, we are putting this into the school systems also, providing them a skill development session, providing them a basic coursework where they can have a pulp fitting kind of thing on their own, where there is no danger and all. We see quick examples that modern day pedagogy involves the interconnection of learning ideas, ways, and methods of training or coaching them and achieving the good results. Pedagogical approaches. Now, why do we have, what kind of different approaches does teaching pedagogy in the higher education systems help us? There are various ways. There are various ways. I have put them with the examples and I'll quote them. Uh, Constructive, collaborative, inquiry based, integrative, reflective learnings. Constructivism. This involves getting the learners to be involved in developing the meaning behind sessions. Previously, students used to listen to the teachers and blah, 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 and write down the notes and get through it. It's very good, a good concept, which I agree on to now. If I put my 45, 50 hours in a classroom session, and if my students don't understand a single thing or they don't develop an skill from it, it's a waste. We advocate reverse classroom techniques in constructivists techniques where delegates learn the concepts for themselves before any training and demonstrate them, physically show them this work is to be done like this during a session. Having them involved in physically and mentally constructing the session help you as a facilitator to get an application more quicker and without wasting time setting up activities. I'll give you a small example here where you have role play kind of thing. Built a role play in a communication session or in any other session. Give them a situation like you are in an office, you are the boss, and there are two employees working under you. And give them a scenario like there is some conflict or there is some good movement achievement. How will they react onto it? How will they have a role play? Give them a theme, leave them. They'll come out with good means a proper situation. They will show you, they will role play that activity and come onto it. Collaborative learning, pedagogy. This enables learners to work in pairs, groups, or the whole teams to learn concepts and apply them in the real world scenarios. You can get students to teach others about their experiences in small groups. I'll quickly give you a very small example which is applied in the corporates for this collaborative mechanism. They take up two people from the effective group, very effective, efficient group, two people from the average group, and two people from non-average groups. They combine these six people together. They give them one tasks in the corporate world, especially. When they give them this collaborative task, the two are excellent, the two are average, and the two are below average. And they tell them, if you do this job, the outcome of yours, we will give you a team bonus. So the term team bonus here, a collaborative bonus, increases the efficiency of the whole group. Like the people who are below average will try to put in more effort, and the people who are excellent, above average, they will help those people who are below average to get the whole concept, whole work done as a team, because the word has collaborative incentive. So the organization is happy, the team is happy, the workers are happy because they are together, they are working it, and they are getting a team bonus onto it. Inquiry based learning is the third pedagogy. This pedagogical situation approach builds around situations and problems the learning will experience in their line of work. It could be a case study based method where a pre-prepared situation is disseminated to a group who can share their experience to work on it, or specific issues and challenges that our learners have brought themselves and have prepared beforehand. If you remember the Satyam case, for example, you can tell your students to prepare an inquiry based study, going through to Google, having secondary source of data or whatever. Let them collect the information about the Satyam case, how it was taken up, how it was produced, and how the auditors have given us a clean sheet and what happened, how did the case reopen. So if they do all this study behind, they'll come and explain you a problem, a situation where they prepare a report onto it, and then inquiry based pedagogy works. The next is integrative pedagogy. This is where the learners learn while interacting with others. If I am open to this class and if you ask me a question, it can be an interactive session. And of course, I can take up your views and explain you, or you can explain my views. An integrative approach allows for cross-fertilization of ideas, of course, yes, and the concepts that may be new to various areas of others. The whole point is to make discussed concepts applicable to other environments, stretching students' mind to apply new ideas in challenging situations. they might encounter outside the classroom, they can discuss here, and they can have a different opinion onto it. Sometimes this opinion can be a good solution for them. So until unless we don't discuss idea things or problems or situations, we might not come to know the other's opinion onto it. And that can be helpful to each other. The next pedagogy is reflective. Now, this reflective pedagogy allows learners to reflect on what they have picked up. Is vital if the ideas are to be consolidated, established, and it's basically idea based, embedded minds and hearts. For example, get learners to spend 5-10 minutes reviewing their notes, what you have made them write, discussing the actions with one or two partners, sharing learning points with each other, planning the actions they're going to take. Give them a business idea, let them come up with the solution. That way they consider and reflect on the value of their learning experiences, providing themselves to that the time they devoted was valuable. Reflective reflective time is also good for you as a facilitator. It gives you time to contemplate learning points, decide which areas are to be worked well, along with bringing materials up to date with new ideas. Here I'll quote a small example which might be helpful to you all. We can start a pocket money competition. Like for example, if you get 100 rupees pocket money, combining pocket money with a business idea. Take that 100 rupees and how that 100 can be multiplied to 200 or 150 or 250. Put that source into some utilization and get into an outcome. So that will be more efficient, more useful. See how the students come up with good ideas out of that 100 rupees. How they can get out of 100, they'll make 200 and show you. So give them something to do and see the response on it. Differentiated instructions. These are some additional pedagogies which I have taken up based on the requirement of today's teaching learning process. Now here what you have is, it's a very basic thing. Now, the moment I have differentiated instructions, I can put up here as the classroom sessions what we have, or the audiences whom we are talking to are from different backgrounds, are from different cultural heads, are from different interests, are from or my the purpose of attending this FDP can be a compulsion from the institute, compulsion for my API scores or whatever. But I'm doing it. So the moment I'm doing it, let me do it with good interest out of it. Recognize that the students have different learning interests and abilities. Teachers adjust their methods to accommodate these differences, offering varied content, resources, and assessments to meet individual needs. Examples include visual aids. I can help you with a, I can even put it into volume. I can show a video onto it, providing hands-on activities. We can sit and do craft work together if I have that subject, or offering a choice-based assignment into it. This will be useful with us for blended learning. The next topic what we have in this higher education. Blended learning is a need of the day. It's more flexible. It combines face-to-face interact instructions with online instructions. We are face-to-face. We are in, if I say we are in person communication to each other. This allows students to have more flexibility and access to resources while maintaining the benefits in-person interactions. This can include flipped classrooms, where students learn new content at home through videos or reading or saved videos. Coming back to the questions again, Q&A. Apply it in the classroom through activities and discussions. So this blended learning is a need of the day, need of the hour, where the instructors and the students can be face-to-face, can be through the PPT, can be through a video, and you can put up the questions later, the facilitator can answer them. Student-centered learning. Put students at the heart of the learning process. Give them certain things which will put their core abilities into learning. Teachers as facilitators rather than lecturers, guiding students to take up responsibilities for their own learning through self-directed activities, projects, and discussions. Now, gone the days when the teacher had a spoon feeding kind of thing. I'll dictate you notes, write them in the exam, and you are done. The world is far more ahead. The moment you give me a topic, I'll initially put it into Google and get the material onto it. Give me a topic, I'll put into, I'm very sorry, but yeah, we do this. We put it into chat GPT where we get the ready things. It's good. It's a good thing we have everything in our on our fingertips, but we should put our minds into it and get it changed and put it as per my requirement. Competency based learning is the next pedagogy what I have taken up. This focuses on students mastering specific skills or knowledge at their own pace. Students progress through content when they demonstrate competence rather than based on time spent in classrooms. The fundamental concepts used in teaching pedagogy. There are several key concepts on how concepts that guide how educators approach the teaching and learning process. These concepts help to shape the strategies, methods, tools used to foster effective learning environments. Active learning. This concept focuses on students actively participating in their learning process rather than passively receiving information. Activities like classroom discussions, problem solving, role play, I gave you an example, group work, collaborative work are integral to active learning. It promotes deeper understanding and retention of knowledge. I can give you a quick example of flipped classroom in this PPT itself. If there are 10 people in this session and I give you a flipped classroom session, I put another group here and I'll tell you three of you join, three classrooms I'll move. And three of you together you join, I'll give you an activity, you present me in next 5 minutes. This is a flipped classroom session. Though I'm not there physically with you, but I can do that activity of role play, what can do in my physical classroom along with you to do. I can understand what have you learned. I'll give you a topic. I'll tell you, take 10 minutes, present that topic in front of me. I physically, only verbally, or using a small video. So even that is a outcome based study, and I can assess you on that. So it's a combined concept of explaining, assessment, evaluation process itself. The basic the best advantage is Bloom's taxonomy putting into assessment levels. Bloom's taxonomy is a classification system used to define and distinguish various different levels of cognitive skills. It helps educators create learning objectives and assessments that target various cognitive skills. Now, why assessments are we putting so focus on assessment? Because previous type of system of education was only a yearly pattern of examination, a board examination with small exams in between, which never used to count. But nowadays, it's not that way. Nowadays, we are in the continuous process of assessment. CIS, which we call continuous evaluation, CES, continuous evaluation system. As per NEP, every month, even the college student has to give an exam, a test, a writing assignment, or whatever. So these are very important. If we take up with the Bloom's taxonomy, which this gentleman gave us, it is the hierarchy includes remembering. If I tell you something, you remember. If I'm explaining you something, understand. Apply that knowledge into what you are doing. Analyze how important and good it is for you. And lastly, evaluate yourself how you have done it and what is the outcome you have got it. So a question paper is set on the basis of Bloom's taxonomy, remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, and evaluating. These techniques are sure and must to be taken up into consideration.
Included.
Any problem?
No,
Okay.
we can continue.
Okay.
No issue.
After Bloom's taxonomy, the formative and summative assessments comes. The ones who are teaching in me will definitely come up with all these things, because formative and summative assessments are what are ongoing assignments that inform teaching and help the guide and student learning in a very good way. For example, if I give you a quiz, tell me the pedagogy approaches, constructive, blended learning, or whatever. Immediately you can give me. I can assess you on that basis as a quiz, a discussion, a peer review. Okay, these assessments allow teachers to make adjustments to instructions in real time. A part of that writing 3 hours paper, we can come to a knowledgeable understanding system where the teachers can assess the students on the spot at that moment. Summative assessments evaluate students' learning at end of instructional period, usually through exams, projects, and final papers. Of course, that's a core part of our education system, which will never come out, maybe. These are used to measure overall achievement and the learning outcomes. How does a student mold up in that whole particular year or 7-8 months the student is with you? This is something new, what we call as scaffolding. Scaffolding refers to providing a temporary support to students as they learn new concepts or skills. Teachers offer guidance, hints, or resources, and gradually reduce the support as the student gains independence. Like I give you a project, I'll guide you with that project, and I'll get that report from you, and it's a nicely done way. But second time, when you get that same kind of problem, you prepare a report on your own. I'll assist you, and I'll give hints, and I'll do everything. But gradually, when you are master into it, I'll take up that support out of it. The goal here is to help students achieve mastery in their tasks they initially couldn't perform on their own. So the student at the end of the day gains confidence, gains a good subject, what you say, subject power. Like, yeah, I know this and I can do this on my own. And this can be carried on the learning process. One individual gains confidence, can speak on this, that will pass on to some other, that will pass on to some other. So scaffolding is a best concept what we use with the students. Differentiation. Uh, Differentiation is, I'll explain you in a good example method. It's a instruction evolved tailoring teaching methods, the contents, the assessments to accommodate diverse learning needs. All the audiences in a classroom or in an online session or in a recorded video are not of the same cadre. So tailoring the teaching methodologies, which you can do now and you couldn't do 10 years before, is due to the thanks to the technological advances. It could mean providing alternative reading materials, varying of difficult other tasks, using different modes of instructions to reach out to learners effectively, most effectively. Like, I have an efficient category of students who can solve a better problems which are not at junior level or at the most basic level. So this is how you differentiate. You prepare groups, put the highly efficient ones, put them together with the weaker ones. They'll have self learning together. That's the best part. Next part is cooperative learning. Cooperative learning emphasizes on collaboration among students to achieve common learning goals. Group tasks encourage peer interaction, shared responsibility, and mutual support. This can be done only with the help of that collaborative learning. It fosters social skills, teamwork, and collective problem solving. This is the most important one, which I have: feedback and reflection. Providing constructive feedback help students understand what they have learned and areas where they need improvement. Of course, if you can share a few thoughts, what I have shared with you right now, it would be great for me so that they'll understand and evaluate. Like, I can understand what you have taken up from this, or I'll understand what I can explain much more better. Reflection encourages learners to assess their progress, identify strengths and weaknesses, and develop strategies for further learning. So feedback is very important when you are into a public domain. We are into public domain, and we should know that what we have spoken should be easily understood by you, and if I go to Bloom's taxonomy, it should be easily applicable by you in different situations. Peer learning. Peer learning is the best part which we normally do without our understanding itself. In when we study, we take up peer groups here. We can make friends with the same levels. We can understand. We can work together. We can learn and teach each other, which can make us a better understanding. It could be through peer tutoring, group projects, collaborative session, etc., etc. Like, add on to this. Peer learning not only deepens the understandings but also enhances communication and social skills. Learning styles. We all have different kinds and mechanisms of learning styles, methodologies. I'll give you a small example which I think we can relate to. We have 10 subpoints: principle of understanding, principle of management, principle of time management, principle of all those principles of management. What we have, we call it as pods crop: planning, developing. So we have taken that first letter of all those 7, 8 heads. Pods crop. Learning style. It's my mechanism of learning where I've taken up the shortcut. If you remember in the school days when we were, my very adorable mother just taught me there are 9 planets, that like that. So all those, my Mars, Venus, Earth, and all those things we can relate. We can put one word or sentence and come up with memory techniques. So learning styles will develop by students, that can be visual, in the volume, audible, and other kinetic learning skills, where the educators adapt to different teaching methods. And these are very important and useful in all the methods. Now coming to the pedagogy's next part, what I have is innovative teaching methods, which is what you can call it as the need of the pedagogy system in today's world. Basically, in today's AI world, innovative teaching methods are the most important teaching methods. Now, if I ask you, if I inform you also that if you can tell me 10 years before, a small child in a junior section or a pre-primary section carrying an iPad to school was a nightmare. No, it cannot be done. No, now this is the need of the classroom. They have a session on computers. A small child getting into 6 7 years have a very good familiarity with a tab, the iPad, or with a computer, or with a system, or with a YouTube channel itself. Gone are the days where parents used to sing rhymes to the children. Now it's the automated world where the child can see the poem, they dance onto it, and get into that mental strength, mental visual skills onto it, which is very good. Innovative methods of teaching that can be given an example. The world has been shifted from brick and mortar classrooms to online ones and hybrid learning. It's a good thing. Imagine staying in a boring class with a voice of teachers echoing in your ears, trying to lift your eyelids to pay attention to what they are saying. Um, I can say is that I can tell you, yes, this happens still. Nowadays, many teachers are trying to keep their classes as far as possible from that scenario, and their students get into more involved by learning into different approaches to teaching them. Throwing a chalk on a student, pay attention, or don't talk in the classroom, those are common words a teacher uses. And I think in this session, though, we don't have to say that, please don't talk. The education field is changing so fast that you need to keep up and adapt to the more modern strategies, which will help you. See, I have put up one session where you are audiovisual teaching with these small children, putting a headphone, getting into volumes, getting into screens. What will they now don't understand? If I show you a science experiment which is continuously done by a YouTube video, of course, it will give me a greater understanding of what a teacher is explaining until and is doing a physical laboratory work. Creative teaching can be done anywhere under the sky, but if you give me a tab and I can get in a video and I can see it, it's a creative teaching. Like in the small picture, the gentleman is showing this child photos. Instead of me explaining, the gentleman is showing the video, the picture of that particular activity. So the child understands in a better way. The audience gets into it mentally also. Visualize. Innovative methods may we have, unlike traditional teaching, which mainly focuses on how much knowledge you can pass onto the students. Innovative methods help you teaching dig deep onto what the students really need during the lectures. You are all about using teaching strategies that focus on students. These innovative and encourage students to join proactive sessions and interactive classmates during their session. Students will have to work more, but yeah, in a way that meets their need and better understand and grow faster. I'll give you a small quote here. The best teachers are those who show you where to look, but don't tell you what to see. If you remember that Arjun ka scene from the Mahabharata, he had that eye on that fish. When everybody else was not able to throw that arrow anywhere it was flickering, but that Arjun had that eye of that fish and that arrow straight, that concentration power. The teacher just told them, this is a fish, this is the eye, you have to put it. He only had that concentration, which he can take that arrow and immediately go and put on the arrow, hit the eye of the fish or that bird, whoever it was. Innovative teaching methods are the basic needs of teaching pedagogy nowadays. A few of them which we have done, I'll skip and I'll come to the later parts, other things here. First is interactive session. Now I'll have a quote here. Students are innovative learners. Of course, we all are students in the current generation. But yes, one way lessons are very traditional, which I'm doing now because I cannot have a conversation, nobody's speaking. And if you can give me a review on what I have done, that will be an excellent thing. A very traditional and sometimes exhausting for you to only listen. So create an environment where students will feel encouraged to speak up and express their ideas. I'll tell you a small example here. Just get into the class physically. Just tell your students, in the middle of a problem, in middle of a lecture, in middle of a class or an experiment, just get up 2 times and sit down. It's a refreshing thing. Just tell them to, the moment you say look left, they'll look left, right, right, and reverse the orders. Right, left, right. So this is an, now I'll say that this will create a more interactive session with the students. Using virtual technology, yeah, the most important need of the day is a 3D classroom. Now, the 3D classroom gives a real imagination of the real world what you are teaching. Like sitting in a 3D cinema or playing a virtual game gives students an immense learning experience by themselves instead of looking on those flat screens. Now your class can travel to another countries in just a few seconds, get out to the space, see the Milky Way, see the Jurassic Park, and getting a dinosaur onto you. And it's just a meters away, like within that virtual technology, if you see. The moment I start explaining a dinosaur verbally, if a child will not understand. The moment I show a picture that imagine that screen, he's coming out of that screen in a 3D technology, he will understand what is a dinosaur is. Mentally, visually, everything. But the way it can turn your lessons into a blast and wow, the students will love into your classrooms. Using AI education, AI assists us in doing much of our work. So as we can get into use into education also. And it's not surprising as soon as the teacher will have an assistant AI in a classroom. Blended learning, of course, we have done classroom sessions which are more flexible into physical and can get into online. LMS is a software, e-learning software, which helps you to manage and interact online sites. Basically, what you are looking for and searching for, they will give you in a quick finger session, like just press a finger and you'll get the data. Use the designing thinking process. This is one of the solution-based strategy to solve problems, collaborate and spark students' creativity. There are 5 stages into it. I have explained them in the other slide. It's different from other methods because you don't have that step-by-step process. It's a non-linear process. You can customize based on your lectures and activities. Let's quickly go on to it. The 5 stages are empathize, define empathy and find out the needs and solutions according to the problems. Define the task, define the issue, the potentials of addressing them. Ideate, think and generate new creative ideas for that old questions also. Prototype, make a draft or sample of the solutions to explore the ideas further. Test the solutions, evaluate and gather feedback. Yeah, very important. Empathize, design, and define a problem, ideate it, get different opinions onto it, prototype, put 2, 3 systems into use, test it. If it's okay, repeat it. If it's not, go back to the question, find another opinion, find another solution, put them into use and see that this works or it doesn't work. So as simple as that process. Project-based learning, we have done it, but real-world solutions you can put into issues, real-world issues. Like I've explained that Satyam case. Put that into project-based learning. See what are ask your students to give a report onto it and their opinion on the Satyam case. Like now, very, very, very immediately, we have that Infosys layoff trend now has come up within the last week. Tell your students to get into that case study, why Infosys is laying off so many employees, and give their report and their opinion and their suggestion onto the same. So that is called as project-based learning. Take up a real-based topic, give the students those topics, and let us understand their opinions onto it. This can give us a collaborative teamwork learning skill. In query-based learning, we have done it. Just quickly a second example onto it. Students need to reach to the topic immediately and to find out the answer with themselves. This will help them to have problem-solving techniques and research skills a lot. Let them meet people, let them discuss their questions, problems, scenarios. Include a problem-based learning technique, which you can rely on, and you being not a teacher, but a facilitator, which will help them to come out with the suggestions. The best way, the next part what we have is the best way, it can be used in any age. Jigsaw puzzle understanding. A jigsaw puzzle in an ordinary game, but I bet that each one of us has played it at least once a lifetime, and which has really rackled our brains. Yeah, this can go there, this can go there, I can have something else. Similar things happen in a class if you try this jigsaw technique to make understand a sentence, a word, or anything, a problem. but that is a best outcome because we do it ourselves. We know the various ways to get into it, not and how to get the solution for this. Cloud computing technique, the need of the hour, the need of the situation with AI, cloud computing comes into picture. The term can be strange, but yes, this method itself is familiar to most of the teachers. It's a way to connect teachers and students and allow them to access classes and materials from 1,000 miles away. Now, like we are there today. Even I don't know what from where the audiences are, which part of the world they are. Flipped classroom session, materials, understanding, class devoted time, homework. Like if you have some questions, put them on the chat and I'll come back to you so we can understand it in a better way and things whatnot like that. Peer teaching, come into groups, understanding. We have done this, so this is the best pedagogies I've taken. Peer teaching, if you can see this photo gives you a brief insight of how that group is sitting and they are working on to different color schemes and the topics and the problems and the solutions. They come up on their own and they write those solutions and they help the classmates to boost their confidence, to encourage them and within themselves. And you be the independent one, you present it, you prepare the presentation. So all those kinds things come up with the peer teaching. Let's quickly go on. I have 2, 3 more slides, but let's quickly go on with the content what I had. A final thought on teaching pedagogy. Now, I'll just have a brief on the pedagogy term. Why is the need of the word pedagogy? Hmm. It's a different scenario. It's a two-way content. It's a climate and it's a content. And the pedagogy is diversify and critically assess teaching methods. Learning activities, assignments. I will not say that the chalk talk mechanism is not good. I will love to go into a classroom where I can have a chalk talk method. But looking at the current trend in the world situation, this physical meeting, physical working nowadays, it's reduced. Of course, when the compulsion is there with other skills and all, this is the most important requirement. But when I say a blended learning and etc. things together, pedagogy helps us focus on teaching quality, teachers and leaders leadering together, conversations for change, and if I say attributes of pedagogy, the various attributes of pedagogy are people's openness on adapting the technology, learning through it. It's great, innovative and creativity, sharing ideas and resources, which should be two-way ideally, connected community. I must say also learner generated content and reflective practice, peer review, participatory technology. These are the best parts if I connect with the word pedagogy. Now, two things I'll just quickly explain. One is open pedagogy. Now, the moment what is open pedagogy? Open pedagogy to the students and the teachers, people's openness and trust. Now, if I tell you something within this, you can go into Google, check the content, openness, trust. What I tell you, innovative and creativity is more as compared to a traditional classroom session. Of course, yes. Sharing ideas and resources, connected community, learner generated, peer review, I told you, reflective practices, participatory technology. If the technology doesn't support us, we cannot do anything like this. The basic part is the technology here. Now, if I go with pedagogy, I'll quickly take 2, 3 points and then I'll come back to the final thoughts. Approaches. There are two basic approaches to teaching pedagogy: learning methods and teaching strategies. The best one. Second part, which I take up, is context. The context should be very systematically explained, controlling physical systems. If you want to make it unplugged, like not routine, but getting the content in an unroutine format, and cross curricular. Yes, of course, nowadays we are into cross curricular. I, being a commerce student, can get into arts and study psychology, as I told you. I, being a science student, can get into financial business management, understanding. I can get into arts, being a art student, open elective, I can go to understanding financial literacy. So all these things are coming up with the concept of NEP, National Education Policy, which has given us a freedom of multidisciplinary study. Then me being a commerce student can get into programming and generating an app, studying in the college itself. Programming languages, of course, and engagement. I hope when these things come up, the student and the facilitator engagement comes up together. Pair programming, collaborative projects, and all those activities come up. Uh, Quickly to review the content, if I say on the basis of student center, these things are very important. Now, how it is this important? Now, first of all, so I don't have two-way communication here, but still, um, I'll tell you. Pedagogy of trust, new identity as an innovator, as a mentor. Pedagogy helps us in time management. Pedagogy helps us in mainstream of education getting in line with AI generating tools. And in short, the basic content of pedagogy is about learning, teaching, and development influenced by culture, social, and political values we have for children and underpinned by a strong theoretical and practical base. So if I say context pedagogy, content pedagogy refers to pedagogical skills used by teachers to impart the specialized knowledge of the content. And I'll quickly tell you what is advanced pedagogy. Advanced pedagogy means a skillful planning of working system by which objectives can be achieved conveniently. Advanced pedagogy means developing and implementing uh, blended learning. I'll give you one quick, simple example of what we have learned in a classroom session just like a few days before. And it was so attractive and understanding. So I thought I'll definitely share this with you all in the coming session. And it was far better like what we usually do. One second. And the final thoughts, before final thoughts, I would definitely go on to those sessions, screenshots which I have in my this thing. I've not shared those screenshots with you, but yes, those are very encouraging and effective things. One second. Hmm. Huh. I'll come on to it. Uh, Teaching knowledge. One second. Experiential learning. Huh. Characteristics of a 21st generation classroom. I'll tell you, this is the best part what we studied. I even had a FDP. So characteristics of a 21st generation classroom, it is student centric. A classroom 100 years before was teacher centric. 21st century classroom is student centric. Teacher is just a facilitator or a coach or a guide. 21st century classroom sessions, the current teaching pedagogy, integrated interdisciplinary curriculum based on standards of learning and progressions. Learning is designed the way the thinking order of the student should be revised. And the revised Bloom's taxonomy applied onto it. Immediately, I can recollect what you have done. Teaching learning process is research driven, active learning in the current situation, driven by creativity, innovation on the 21st century skills. Authentic assessment, project based and skill based competency work is the basic things. I would quickly conclude with 6 C's of education nowadays. Think creatively, the need of the hour. The moment I say think creatively, problem solving techniques, high order thinking skills, interdisciplinary approach, real world based problems, and project based learning. The other C, first one was think critical thinking. Other C, communicate clearly. Effective communication, self and peer review, information influency, media influency, and digital fluency. Of course, that's a need of the day. Collaborative work is the next C what we have. Team building, effective communication, Self-assessment. Instead of somebody else assessing me, I'll assess myself. Collaborative mediums, sustainable technologies. Culture embracing. Connect of information, uh, context of information, exchange, respect, collaborate with the other thoughts and mechanisms, build community, real world problems. Fifth C is creativity development. Imagine, incorporate ideas, integrate functions, interdisciplinary system approach. Last C is connectivity utilization. Interdisciplinary approach comes here with connectivity. Encourage collaboration, peer reviews and peer groups. Leadership, motivation comes here. Enable technology, AI comes here. Information fluency, of course, there is a lot of information at a button press. Encourage reflection. Try and adopt what you are doing and get into the mechanisms. 21st century we did. Huh. Now, experiential learning and all computational thinking are the part of these pedagogical new kind of thinking what we have. Final thoughts on this presentation by me is the preparation of the content with the modern technology, with the modern pedagogy, how it is to be presented and delivered depending upon the audiences, what are in front of me, who is in front of me, in front of the teachers, in fact. Principles of how the learners will learn, adapt themselves with what you have taught them, apply the rules and the understanding. The creation of cognitive psychology based on learning processes, evaluation of learning processes to check its value. The final conclusions on the teaching pedagogy and the higher education systems with the modern technology of learning nowadays, it's in this way the well thought modern learning is a complete interrelation of concepts and ideas along with the ways of teaching the students. It also indicates that the practices have different direct involvement with the students achievements, results in skills developed after following the approach. Pedagogy is ultimately about creating an environment that supports the development of the whole student together, academically, socially, and emotionally, which we lack now due to the social media apps. Effective teachers, I must say, instead of teachers, facilitators are those who continuously evolve and adapt to the changing needs of their learners, molding teachers according to the requirement of the learners and the students. There are a lot of teaching methods, and depending on the kind of students, the kind of atmosphere you get into, you will have to change your approach and strategy. We can just not say that one is better than other, but it's a blend of various technologies coming together. Choosing the right teaching methodology is very important because that decides the effectiveness of learning in your classroom. Such strategies can also help to foster critical thinking skills, creativity, which can lead to improved problem solving and decision making abilities in the long run. In addition to this, innovative teaching strategies can help them to improve student retention. Means the number of students who leave their courses in between, if we adapt these kind of situations, the retention of the students will be less, and that will give us a modern society where we can have a lot many people completing their basic education, getting into advanced higher education systems. And if we have these kind of hybrid models into education, the core children will not leave their education in between due to physical travel, due to various other things, and they can complete their learning processes in hybrid manner. So in short, pedagogy is creating an environment which supports teaching pedagogy basically, the development of the learners and students together, creating a good individual to the society. Thank you. Now, I hope any questions. This 5 minutes